You're listening to Ice.
Okay, all right. I've had enough of this. I'm getting off the show.
Dixon.
Absolute trash. This is, if I heard this, I'd be like, this is absolute garbage. I wouldn't even consider rating it.
Sit down and buckle up.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Records and Rants. We missed you guys. It's been several weeks, honestly, but guess what? We're coming back hot with probably, I would say, one of the most controversial episodes we'll probably ever have, at least this year. But I can't do it without Dixon. How's it going?
Ice, we are so back. We were in reruns there for a minute.
Yeah, we were. I was getting worried for a while. I didn't think we'd ever come back. I'm sure a lot of people missed us.
You know, could you explain to everybody and apologize to them why you weren't available to record new episodes?
This is unbelievable. It really put me on the spot here. Well, okay, listen. Okay, I apologize on behalf of both of us that we were not available.
That would be fair.
Yeah, I guess if we want to be fair for once in our lives. But yeah, no, we had some BTS stuff going on. We had some life stuff going on. We had some work related stuff going on. We had some personal. It was a lot of stuff. Nothing bad, of course.
Nothing bad. All good.
Yeah, all good. But yeah, unfortunately, we just didn't have time. And you know what? It kind of, not that I'm getting burnt out by the show. I would never say that, but I feel like getting content here once a week, and we've literally been doing it for over a year straight. You know, it's tough. So I feel like this was a nice time to reset, relax, and come back strong. And I think that's where we're at right now.
No, I definitely agree, because you know I think that was a good point to do, because we kind of reached our goal, and now our goal is over. We reached 100 subscribers.
Yes,
and we're never going to get any more, probably. But
yeah, we're done. It's literally never going up ever again. It's over.
You know, it's funny if you divide the 100 subs into like I don't know, like landmarks, benchmarks, whatever. Yeah. You consider the fact that we had like 19 subscribers in January of this year, got right to 100, and now we have 26 additional after that, 26 or more after that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to kind of benchmark our progress in terms of where we're going, because I think we've hit our stride. We've gotten better. We know what we want to do, because we're doing it all along, but we just never made it our focus.
Yes.
So here we are, and we're doing big things.
So I think you're right. I think hitting that stride that you mentioned, I think that really helped us. And like you said, it's the subscribers are just coming, because I think I'm not ashamed to admit it. I think we produce quality content.
Yes, I am also unashamed, and I'm not ashamed in many aspects. And one of the first things being that this is some of the best thing I've ever listened to. Some of this content is just incredible.
So many people are saying it as well, but I really wonder.
That's great.
But I have to wonder what they're going to think about this episode, because as we said in the beginning, this is probably going to be very controversial. And I'm sure you read the title already. I'm sure you know where we're going. We're talking about our girl, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, for sure. And we teased this a while ago, and we were kind of talking about this. We were talking about doing something like this for a while, and then we kind of teased it in our last official episode that we did. So I think that was a good point to break on too, because it kind of gave us a moment to think, okay, we're going to come back strong with a topic that could be polarizing, an artist that could be polarizing.
Yeah, and I think she certainly is. And you know, we did some on the ground research on this, because we put out a poll to our fans and said, is Taylor Swift overrated? Would you believe, Dixon? Okay, we might, you know, the polling might have been a little low. We might have had 4 or 5 votes, but besides the fact of the sample size, every single answer was yes, Taylor Swift is overrated.
Really? That is shocking.
Yeah, I know that is shocking. Now, it could be a side effect of the audience we garner. We don't know. It could be something
Right.
like that. But yeah, no, I was surprised because we've actually gotten some comments because let's be honest, Dixon, we've thrown some shots at
Yes.
T Swift before.
For
Just
sure.
little shots from the back while we're talking about other stuff, and we've gotten hate for it out of nowhere.
We have. Yeah, we have.
It'll be just something that's like 40 minutes into an episode, and we'll say like, yeah, what about that Taylor Swift? Yeah, I don't think she's whatever we say, and then
Yeah,
we get a 5-page response, an essay form of how wrong we are.
Yes, that's exactly what has happened. And one of the ones that really sticks out in my mind, and it was just recently, like in the last couple of videos, was that guy who said, I liked what you talked about in this episode. That's how he started out with. But then it was several paragraphs worth of how, and I remember it was a comment that I think we both made, was that her albums, the albums that she re-released under Taylor's version, it's a little, whatever, it's a little nose forward, whatever, right? And that guy wanted to correct us on how we were incorrect to believe that.
Yes,
and
that's what it was.
And how that was a brave thing. And maybe after listening to some of her stuff, we might agree with that. But immediately the Swifties, at least one single Swiftie, came into action and tried to change our minds.
Yeah, and you talk about nose forward. He was very nose forward about that.
Yeah, for sure.
He truly grilled us. But yeah, I guess the whole entire aspect of this episode and what we wanted to kind of get in our heads was, what is Taylor Swift about? Her music, is it actually good? Is she really this idol that should be so revered that people are so addicted to her and that she's selling out mega stadiums constantly? And I mean, that's kind of the way that I looked at this. I listened to a lot of her stuff, and I looked through her background. I watched interviews, read articles, and I we said this BTS, I feel like I have a more nuanced thought of her going into this. What did you know about Taylor coming into this episode?
So I knew I should start by saying I knew, I would say maybe 70% of her catalog that's like out there, like the songs of Taylor Swift you would know. And I was surprised at how many songs I knew about her. Knew from her, rather, I should say. I know that there have been various women in my life through the years that have preferred to listen to Taylor Swift, enjoy Taylor Swift. So I, depending on the era, it was I'm familiar with a lot of her earlier things.
Right.
I was also know that Taylor Swift puts on these extravagant concerts, these tours that you can't get tickets to. They're scalping tickets, they're counterfeiting tickets. People are showing up in these glittery outfits. It's like this I don't even know what. It's like a gathering.
So some have said cult.
Yes, cults. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cult-like status with these shows.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, and I you've done the research, but I really just kind of went and I said, you know what? Let me just listen to Taylor Swift's catalog. So the last couple of days, I've been listening to 95% of her albums, like the content of all those albums, just to see like what was out there. And I said I was surprised. I knew a lot of the songs.
Oh wow. Okay, so you really dove into the albums, definitely more than I did.
Let's just say maybe I didn't dive in. I listened to them.
Understandable.
I listened to them. I kind of got an understanding. But I was surprised to see she is the most streamed woman on Spotify of all time.
Wow. I mean that's really incredible because I know Taylor Swift is popular, but when you say that fact, it's like it doesn't like really click. But the more that I looked into this, I guess that kind of does make sense now. But it's crazy.
No, yeah, for sure. So drop some T Swift facts on me. What should we know? What should we know about T Swift?
Okay, I don't know if I want to put my whole hand forward right now, but oh, you know what? Let me just drop some little things first, and then at the end when I give my whole review of her, and what I actually think about her and her history, that's when we'll really get into it. But so our girl T Swift, like you said, she is the most streamed woman on Spotify. She sold over 200 million records, and that doesn't even come close to her individual streams on her one song, Blank Space. We all know that song. That's just,
Blank Space.
Really, really popular one. I think that was off of, I don't know if that was off of Red or Speak Now, but over a billion streams, a billion streams on Shake It Off, almost a billion on Anti-Hero. I Don't Want to Live Forever. That's over 1.5 billion streams right there. And these are getting like 2 million streams daily on all platforms. I mean, just the numbers alone are just so crazy. And you know, I just couldn't believe it. So I was like, how did she get into this? And I looked into it, and did you know, Dixon, that Taylor Swift was writing songs for a record label at the age of 14 years old?
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
She's on record as the youngest person to ever have a professional music career.
Wow, so Taylor Swift is like really, you know, something else. And let me just ask you a question. So I've never accessed Spotify in my entire life. I've never listened to a song on Spotify.
Okay.
Right? And I've never sought out in reality up until now a Taylor Swift song. Okay.
And I have not either. Yes.
Right. I know Blank Space. I have heard Blank Space in my life probably 15,000 times in reality. And that's just from being around in society. How on earth could that garner an additional billion streams when you could hear it no matter where you are?
I totally understand what you're saying. And
right.
That is what I was thinking as well. Because like you're looking through all this stuff, and it's like you said, I'm like, I am surprised how many songs that I know from her.
For sure.
Just existing in society. That song "Shake It Off." Me and you would hear that in the club playing. You know, like the one dance bar that we would go to. That constantly played.
Yeah, exactly, all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, and she's been around for a while too. That's another thing that I think plays into this. She's been around as a country singer, which is also kind of interesting, since 2005. Yeah. And she really didn't make her move over into the pop scene until around the 2010s.
Right, yeah, because there was an evolution there. And
absolutely.
I noticed that she had kind of an accent at the country stuff in the early days.
Yeah, that doesn't really track either, because she's from Pennsylvania, so I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
yeah, you know, those Pennsylvanians like to pretend that they're Southern, but
there was that story Bill Clinton had. It was James Carville was advising Bill Clinton on how to run for president, and Pennsylvania always comes up. We've talked about it on the show when we do our little rants and stuff.
Right.
How important Pennsylvania is when it comes to different elections, basically. And James Carville told Bill Clinton, you have Pittsburgh and you have Philadelphia, and in the middle is Alabama. That was so I could see that there's that I guess it's rural, I don't know, you know, and it's a country vibe.
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. There definitely is a country vibe there. I mean, that does kind of make sense, because in the middle of Pennsylvania there's not much, I guess you could say. It's very rural.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe that's why she had this affinity towards the country music, and kind of had that little slight twang. I don't know if her handlers were telling her that she should have this or whatever. Right. But yeah, and then so 2005, she had some country hits too, and that was another thing. I was listening to her country songs. I'm like, you know, I've heard these before, but you know what? Here, let me ask you this, Dixon.
Okay.
Just to look at her first part of her career, the country era, I guess you could say.
Sure.
I was listening through her country songs, and you know, there were a couple hits here and there, but to be honest with you, and this is where we're going to start getting controversial. We're going to get a lot of hate. I already know it. Bring it on. That's all I got to say. In my opinion, and I have no idea if you would agree with me or not, but I'm listening to these songs, and they just sound kind of like cookie cutter pop country songs, and there's nothing really more to them other than a catchy chorus.
Yes, I agree with you. And I mentioned before that was the majority of her catalog that I was familiar with, is kind of that early country. And I divide early country, I think, like up until that Red album. That was with Big Machine, which there was a whole dispute that she had to re-record the whole album. I don't even know. But yes, I agree with you. It really didn't. I really didn't listen to it. I'm like, because there's things on the radio that are catchy, things that wouldn't be, things we would seek out, and we can enjoy them. And that's just stuff I just really don't enjoy. Not because I think it's terrible or if it's bad. I just don't think it's like, I don't know. I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at it through the lens of like, okay, this just another one of these things that just seems produced to appeal to a mass audience. It's like there's nothing really. It's not like experimenting with anything. It's just like, okay, this is what works. This is what we're gonna write. This is the song that I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write about loss and love and I'm down home and all this stuff. It's like it's what you would expect in a country song. It's like Luke Bryan wrote these songs or something.
Yes, Lucas Bryan for sure.
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe not that bad. I maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, but that's pretty.
Maybe
harsh.
I'm being a little harsh, but I do have to say though, the fact that she did write these songs is super impressive. I certainly couldn't write these songs. I mean, you probably could, Dixon, but
I was actually going to bring that up.
Okay. Let's
later on.
Okay, sure. Because I know, because I don't know if anyone knows, but Dixon is a songwriter himself. But
yes, something of a songwriter. Maybe we should tease this right now, because let's just put it out there and let's just make this happen. You and I will be collaborating on music going forward. We will be making some of our projects. Different concepts we have, things we've talked about really through the years, probably over a decade of friendship. In reality, we've discussed things we want to work on.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this has been one that's pervaded through everything, because you have a lot of ideas, and I have the kind of like limited production background, but so we could come together and make something happen. So it's something we've talked about forever.
For sure, and that definitely. And you know what? Maybe we'll make the Ice version, the Dixon version, IND extended play.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
Just be really nose forward, since that's courageous and brave, according to that one commenter that we had.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, whatever.
But that's, I don't know. That's what I thought about her country era. It just it was
my favorite.
Yeah, it was just kind of lackluster to me. And so it again, it kind of begs the question of, what do people see in Taylor Swift? I could understand having fans, but to have such a massive, nearly cult following of her, I mean, I don't know, but I think what's more prevalent now, what a lot of people think about now, is her pop, her pop genre era, which is from the 2010s until today, essentially.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What do you?
No, for sure. And
go ahead.
I was going to say that I'm just going to open it up right now. I was really pleasantly surprised with a lot of the content that I heard from her mid-career. But she still has a pretty early career, like mid-album range to right now. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Now I'm gonna have to agree with you on this, because I think that her later albums, like her latest ones, especially, I think, and you might disagree with me on this, but I think Midnight's is her best album by far.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, because you see this in a few different albums that she's had. There's a couple outliers, which we'll discuss, but you feel that chill pop, that synth, that really kind of layered production. And I think that's why the later stuff is so good, is it's more of a layered production. And you have her songs, which have definitely 100% evolved. They're definitely better. Her vocals have evolved, and I think it says a lot about Taylor Swift that she could kind of fit in to multiple genres at once. I think that's something we really don't give her credit for, and I think that's probably what an attraction factor is for her fans.
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and like like you said, she shows evolution, and I think Midnight's just represents like a maturing of her as an artist, and just coming into this. It's almost like I feel like listening to her pop albums, even then, and again, I'm certainly being harsh, I know it, but I thought it was just kind of she had her hits were very, I guess, they were very unique. Like you hear it, you know, it's Taylor Swift. But I thought it kind of got muddled up in some of her other songs that I didn't think were as showed off her full talent, I guess. But
no, for sure.
Well, I feel like when you hit Midnight's, that album, I just think that knocks out of the park. I think that shows her talent, her maturity as an artist, and I think that that's where she shines. But again, I must not know anything because she's had a massive fan base prior to releasing this. So,
you know, it's funny because I actually will tell you because I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff off of Midnight's. I wrote them down. I really like that song, Labyrinth. Labyrinth.
Yes, yes.
Whatever. Really like that song. Karma. Now, Karma is a song that I really enjoyed, and that was, and you hate to be cliche, but I think into that little side note here, I think we're going to have a lot of people that agree with us that Midnight's is probably her best release ever.
I hope so.
Yeah. But so I wanted to get into the songwriting because we talk about Taylor Swift songwriting, and you said about Taylor Swift songwriting, and it's no doubt impressive, especially the volume of work. And I think sort of the vision she has, she's definitely very confident in her abilities. You know, at her age, it's kind of surprising that she has so much to say, you know, and wants to say it. Because let's be honest, I'd say 97% of her catalog is like, you know, I really liked this guy, and he either turned out to be a jerk, or he didn't like me back, or I like somebody else while I like this guy, and it just didn't work out. And that's fine. That's content you could write about. And then I listened to like the song like Karma. So Karma is a cat crawling up, you know, purring on my lap or whatever. I'm like, now where would you come up with a lyric like that even makes sense or is even like quality? That's my one sticking point with Midnight's. And it's such a catchy song. You take that out of it, that's a catchy song. I don't think she even need to have that in. Just put your beat in there and then go from there.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. That was my one take. One single lyric.
So you're saying you appreciate her lyricism as she progressed.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, and this is going to be a good segue into what I thought were my favorite albums. I think that Taylor Swift, if you had, as we discussed, artists like The National, Death Cab for Cutie, Bright Eyes, all those kind of sad boy bands sang these things in the way they sing them with their production, I think that those songs would be, you know, more accessible to a different genre of fans. I think they're in the same plane as what those guys did and are doing. It's just presented a different way and happens to be a female artist. I
see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And so with that being said, my two favorite albums that I listened to, because like I said, we like this newer era of Taylor Swift. And I wondered if you're going to be surprised, but my two favorite albums were Folklore and Evermore.
No way.
And they were actually produced by one of the members of The National, Aaron Dessner.
Really?
And recorded in his studio in I don't know, Long Island or some sort of somewhere they were, or the Hudson Valley in New York.
Really?
And yes. And so here's a good example. And we talk about this because this is totally your wheelhouse and things that you're familiar with in terms of sound, layers, timbre, cadence, all those kinds of things when it comes to the sounds that you create. Those are focal points. You want to make sure they're sharp. You want to make sure they're dull, warm, different tones. It's kind of like a painting when you're putting sounds together, right?
Yeah.
So a guy. There's the country artist that everybody seems to love, Chris Stapleton. And Chris Stapleton has that song that you've also heard 15,000 times from being out in society, Tennessee Whiskey.
Of course, yeah. Everyone knows that one.
In fact, that's actually a cover of a David Allan Coe song, but whatever. We'll get into that another time.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, this Chris Stapleton isn't all that great. I'm not a fan of Chris Stapleton. Everybody loves him. I saw him in concert. I actually went for the opening act and I left when he came on stage.
Oh my
This is
God.
a few years back. I just wasn't really a fan of his. So then he comes out with an album a few years ago. And I think it was it Traveler? I don't know if it wasn't Traveler, it was something else. But it was produced by Dave Cobb, who was like the king of Nashville, alternative country, traditional country, gets into like new stuff as well. Like, and I noticed the difference when I listened to it, that it was better and that I enjoyed it. And it was because Dave Cobb started working with Chris Stapleton, and you could hear that in the sounds. For me, you had the same layering, the same textures when it came to Folklore and Evermore, and it kind of had that national edge. And the lyrics were even much more, I thought, mature. Like highlights for me on Folklore, This Is Me Trying, Exile, Cardigan. And then for me on Evermore, which I guess was a surprise album. Nobody knew it was coming. It was just 8 months after he released Folklore. Champagne Problems, Willow, which is a hit. You've heard Willow before. Right Where You Left Me, and Gold Rush. I thought those songs were like really good. I thought they were good songs. I enjoyed them.
And now, like we all know that Taylor Swift says she writes her own music and she makes all of her own songs. But you think that I'm sorry, who was the producer that you said that?
Aaron Dessner,
yes.
the guy from the National. He was in the National. He is in the National.
So Aaron Dessner, do you think he influenced these? Because I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Both of these albums they're more layered, they're more moody, more full, and I feel like it is taking something from the National. Like the vibe is the same. Right. So I totally get that. Yeah.
No, for sure. And I think there's that crossover between the National and Taylor Swift because of that. So I think there is. I think, the National, what they do and how they create their songs, which according to our one commenter is very, very much the standard. They act everybody writes the
everybody. Surprised you didn't know that.
Yes, we should have known that. So yes, shout out to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Now we know it. Thank you.
He was really calling me out there. Surprised you didn't know that. I was like, what the?
Yeah, it was just you.
Yeah.
just evidently.
Yeah, everyone else knows this except us. I guess I don't. Screw me, I guess. I don't know.
So I think there's definitely something to that there's an edge to their production, an edge to their method that carries well with Taylor Swift's lyrics. And like I said, I think that there's probably a lot of people, a lot of men in particular, that are quick to bash Taylor Swift.
Oh, absolutely.
Which we're going to get into. I'm going to get into a little bit of Swiftie bashing, but
oh boy,
if this was presented by the National, or what was that guy? Zach Bryan. Zach Bryan is hot right now. Zach Bryan he's a better songwriter. Let's just say that. But he is basically a male version of Taylor Swift. His topics, they're a little bit more mature, a little bit more developed, but he doesn't get as much flack as Taylor Swift does from different crowds. And I think that there is that back and forth between Taylor Swift and the National, and it goes through on those two albums.
And I was actually thinking this one, going through her all of her like earlier stuff, like her pop, like really happy, uppity stuff, and then listening to Midnights. I'm like, I think Taylor Swift like really shines in this kind of more moody, slower area, and so like you said, I think you see that in Folklore and Evermore. Those two albums, I think kind of highlight that. And yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. Maybe, having Dessner on there as a producer really helped her get to a different step in her career. It's like you said, we're seeing the evolution as we go along.
Yeah, no, and it's getting better. And I think we don't give Taylor Swift enough credit for like you compare like Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is burnt out. Like have you seen Justin Bieber in the last couple of years?
Yeah.
He looks just like he's absolutely homeless. He's turned his life around now. He's turned his life to God, so that's positive. Big up to JV for that.
Yeah, if it's genuine, I guess. We don't know.
Yeah, there's a clip on circulating around Instagram on the pages I follow, and he's like having this moment in a concert where he's giving up his sins to the Lord, but it could just be a stage presence. Who knows?
I'd love to see this. I got to see that later.
Yeah, it'll definitely come up on my Instagram again, and I will send it to you.
Okay.
But and, it's like, Justin Bieber's just burnt out. You have One Direction couldn't last 1 or 2 or 3 albums in a world tour, basically. Taylor Swift is there. She's doing it, and she's one of the rare artists, I think, in this day and age that has started really young and is still evolving, still getting better, and still just able to do what she does well. Look at Kanye West. Kanye West had a 30-year career, and went off the deep end. Well, he was continuing to go off the deep end, but finally went off the deep end enough that was just inexcusable.
Yeah, really went off the deep end there. And hey, boy, Taylor and Kanye are mortal enemies too. So I mean, there's that.
There's that crossover there, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said for that. The fact that Taylor Swift is kind of just doing her thing, staying in her lane almost.
Yeah, and I think that might also add on to her staying power is the fact that she's gone through all these genres and she stayed around. But I'm trying to figure out what it is that gave her that edge to stay there. Do you think it has anything to do with her? Okay, let's go beyond the music and say, okay, the music's great. She's a good writer. And she's been doing it consistently, and she's able to evolve. Do you think it has anything to do with her personality? Because I'll tell you what, the more I looked into this, Taylor Swift is not the person that I thought that she was.
Really? How so? And I'm curious. So,
okay. Going into this, Dixon, you know my disdain for celebrities in general,
yes, right? You're anti-celebrity big time. That has been well documented.
Yeah. Not sure. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just got that in me. But I found out Taylor Swift actually seems like a pretty genuinely nice person.
Oh, really? That's cool.
No, yeah, no, I'm serious. And I think she has a lot of fan interaction. I think that's why so many people almost have a cult following towards her, because she likes to interact with her fans. Like, she will literally interact with them on social media. She'll do events with them and stuff. But one of the big things that I saw, which was very interesting, have you ever heard of the 1989 Secret Sessions?
I have not heard of those secret sessions, no.
So listen to this. I don't think any artist has ever done this in their entire lives. But Taylor Swift herself, this is very interesting. Taylor Swift herself went on to fan forums and searched for people that wanted to see her but never got a chance to. And then it had her company contact them and invited them to her house, which then
really
Taylor Swift surprise showed up, baked like cookies for them, and then performed the album 1989 like a month before it came out for all of her fans.
Really? That's pretty interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, you know what? Because I thought about this. I'm like, Taylor Swift, she's a billionaire or whatever. She's just like milking everyone for money. Okay, yeah, let's re-record all my albums and sell them again or whatever.
We have to touch on that, yes. For
okay, 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
We definitely will. But no, I just looking at that, and then like even the people that were interviewing her about this, there were some British people. They were like, "Oh, can't you let him in your house just like that?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, they're my fans." I'm like,
oh, that's great.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I got to give Taylor Swift props here, and she has that attitude. It seems like consistently throughout her entire career. So I guess in that aspect, I can understand why people really do appreciate her, even past the music that she has.
Yeah, I could see that being definitely a factor for 100%.
Yeah,
for sure. And she's like a more of a phenomenon than an artist. And you have all that good involved, and then you have like things I don't think you could explain as like somebody who's a decent artist and puts the fans first and wants to invite them over to your house. Mm-hmm. The whole debacle with the different Target editions of the album, and you mentioned this before.
Yeah.
So not only did she re-record the albums, okay, fine. There's plenty of things that I have of the Beach Boys catalog that I have like 5 and 6 times over that they either re-released or a different track list or something was a bonus, whatever, fine. So I get that. I do get that. But to do it so blatantly and obviously at the same time in succession, and then have like, I don't know, what was it, 5 or 10 or 12 different versions of the album at Target
it was
all at the same time.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, I gotta figure this out. But yeah, it's almost to a point where it's like exploitative.
For sure, 100%. Because you know that for whatever reason, I don't think we've really found an answer as to why Taylor Swift has this cult-like staying power.
Mhm.
Certainly it's music, certainly it's personality, certainly it's the fan interaction. You know, maybe it's the content, maybe it's definitely relatable in some way. That still doesn't explain the whole cult-like status, I don't think. I mean, you can make you can make the connection to like, oh well, everybody screamed and was all over the place when the Beatles first came on the scene, or when Elvis. The Beatles were doing something totally different. Elvis was definitely doing something different, and he still did his entire career. It was a show. It was an experience. You know, but then you have these moments like with the multiple discs. You know, everybody is going to buy them. They're going to because it's a cult-like following. They have to.
Yeah.
If you're a Taylor Swift fan, you have to do that. And maybe you saw too recently. There was a couple, or maybe it was multiple couples. They actually got married at a Taylor Swift concert during the show.
I did not see this. That is wild.
This might be the most insufferable thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Number one, and I hate to be, maybe my misogyny is showing here, but like if you're the guy, aren't you saying absolutely not? Isn't this a red flag to you at some point?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we're gonna get married at a Taylor Swift concert. The concert's gonna be going on. People are gonna be screaming. Popcorn's being spilled. Phones are in your face. But you know, we're gonna have a ceremony right in the middle of this concert.
That is absolutely insufferable.
If I were the man, I think that would be a deal breaker. I think that would be completely off the table. I don't think this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
This is verging on Disney adult, which would be a whole different episode we could talk about. But anyway, go ahead.
No, wow, I did not know that. That is absolutely insufferable. But yeah, but I'm actually looking at the video right now. This is I have to turn it off. I gotta turn it off. I can't watch this.
It's absolute cringe. It is the most cringe thing you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh God, I gotta regain my composure. Yeah, you ever cringe so bad and like feel secondhand embarrassment that like you
yes
yeah,
that is 100% one of those moments that is just absolute off the charts cringe. It's definitely cringe.
But yeah, so go to what you said. What is she doing that is making people do this?
Yeah,
at her
sure.
What is with the following? How does she have this following? Okay, look, we could all sit down and say, okay, is Taylor Swift talented? Yeah, she's talented. Could she sing? Could she write? Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Is she the best of the best of the best? Is she writing lyrics that are like just mind blowing? I would argue probably not.
Right.
Is she writing music that is super unique and something that you've never seen before? And I would also argue, at least this is just my perspective, probably not. I think it's above average pop. I hate to say it. That's what I think.
No, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you.
So again, we have this, above average artist. I don't think she's any more talented than anyone else in the industry. So why is she this insanely popular? Why does she have the cult following? And even after doing all this research, I don't think I have found an answer.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. I think that I think Taylor Swift is good. I think she has good stuff.
Yeah.
And here's like another example. Excuse me. One of my acquaintances recently posted on social media a screenshot to an Instagram story. And it was the song "You're Losing Me" from Midnight's. And the person commented and said, might be the saddest song she's ever recorded. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to listen to this. And it was coming up in the rotation. I'm like, let me pay special attention to this.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Dessner actually gets a writing credit on this song. And it's a very relatable song. It starts out, "You say I don't understand, and I say I know you don't. We thought a cure would come through in time now. I fear it won't. Remember looking at this room. We loved it because of the light. Now I just sit in the dark and I wonder if it's time." This has been stuff I've been listening to because I had a sad boy phase. You didn't.
Right.
This is nothing like anything that Death Cab has written. Ryan Adams, artists like this. This has all been said before, and not that you can't say it again. All great art repeats itself. You know, there's always
absolutely.
Yeah, there's always great art that is borrowed from freely. You know, I'm not saying that's what she did, but I'm saying this isn't all that crazy and special.
Yeah,
now, of course it is to maybe somebody listen to it, but yeah, go ahead.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like that's what I'm saying too. I agree. Yeah.
Now, that being said, I think these Swifties have never evidently had a sad boy phase, and I think that
Apparently
if they're really into this sort of mode that she's in, this moody sort of melancholy, sort of an edge to it, they would enjoy all those bands, all those songs that I kind of talked about before. And maybe that's the appeal of Taylor Swift, is she makes the sad boy, the sad girl image appealing and also empowering at the same time. Because you see Taylor Swift, she has these mega stadiums, she has the glitter microphone, and you've seen the memes where it's a recreation of Taylor Swift introducing a song. And it's like, you know, I saw something. I saw a pothole today, and I swerved around it. And I thought, you know, life throws you curves. Like, it's just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
and so maybe that's the whole thing, is that Taylor Swift, through her relationship trauma, through her being a public person, through her being under attack in the media, she's used it to empower herself, used it to bolster her confidence and evolve, as we've seen through her music, certainly as an artist. So maybe that's definitely a personal thing that the Swifties really, really like. Won't get into the fact that there's 5 million of them that feel and talk the same way.
Yeah. We won't dive into that.
Maybe the fact that there's the individual edge may be lost after all this, but you know, there's definitely something to be said for that, you know.
Oh my god, that's incredible. That's good. Yeah,
you know, it's so true. Oh wow, we're so different. We're against everything. Meanwhile, every cultural institution is on your side.
Yeah,
5 billion streams on Spotify. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we're so different. We're changing the world. Look at us. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's great. You and everybody else.
Yeah. Whoa, wow, you're so unique. But
yeah.
Damn it, Taylor Swift is good at selling it.
She is, for sure.
She I think you're right. I think if we had to try to give an answer, Dixon, I think you might have hit the nail on the head with almost makes you feel like you're part of something and taps into that
for sure.
That kind of feeling that all these people feel. And you know, it's also, her songs are relatable. You have to admit
100%.
that. And then her just taking, you know, I hate my ex, and like, you know, getting attacked by everyone and all this stuff. And I think it empowers other people and Taylor Swift herself to just push through. And I think that's why people probably latch on to her. Maybe they feel like they're going through this fight with her.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. You know, if she's inspiring people and uplifting people, that's a positive thing. I think that we're going to get a lot of flack in the comments that maybe we have a very cursory understanding of her lyrics and what they actually mean and how to interpret them. Because Midnight's was based on, I believe, dreams she had, right? Or her nocturnal emissions.
Yeah.
Nocturnal imaging.
Her what?
Nocturnal experiences.
Oh man, that's good. It's inspired. Oh man, it's inspired by. Oh man, It's inspired by her sleepless nights, quote unquote.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's, yeah. So yeah, what you said.
And we all had those sleepless nights, I think, you know.
Yeah. No.
And so she's making it out there, and says, "Hey, I have those sleepless nights too, or I think about this, or I think about that, or
Yeah.
boy, if they could only just text me back, you know."
Yeah.
I think that kind of really hits home.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's maybe I'm thinking too far into it, and you know, it's just the fact that she's relatable and all this stuff, but
I think there has to be something that you think into, because it has to be more than that.
Right.
It really does.
Right. And I want, but I've also done research on this to try to, and you know, of course you got to go to Reddit to find like real people, or I've gone to forums, I've gone to question sites just to see what people say. But there's really nothing to it other than people saying, you know, the question's asked, why are you so addicted to Taylor Swift? The answer is usually she's talented and she has good songs. There's like nothing past that. So I don't know. It's maybe they don't understand it themselves, and they're just locked into it. But I mean, so be it. Who are we to say? You know,
who would it judge?
Yeah. So
now, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna finish up with something just to make people think it's kind of a, I don't want to say a damper on Taylor Swift, but I find it kind of interesting because I didn't know this history about her. But you go ahead first.
I was just going to say, I guess it's disappointing, and I don't know anything about this. This is just my take on it. That whole debacle with Ticketmaster, where the tickets weren't being released, or they were then being released, and it was a dynamic pricing scheme. I think that Taylor Swift has so much clout and so much industry experience and connections that could have been taken over and addressed better. Right. And I think that to still make the fans put out for like, I don't know, $2,000 a ticket. You're seeing these stories now. People are paying thousands of dollars. They're traveling thousands of miles. There's a few anecdotal takes that the tickets were fake, that they whatever. I think that could have been handled by her and her team a little bit better. And if she was going to make it accessible, she could have done something else and just scrapped it all together and gone back to square one.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you have someone, and like you said, of course she has clout. She's the number one female artist in the world.
Yeah,
she could have. I mean, she has to have Ticketmaster by the balls, you would think. I feel like she would say that would be a call from her herself to the Ticketmaster, whatever, and say, you got to fix this right now, or you know, we're going to go a different direction or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know, that was kind of disappointing. I don't even know if she really even said anything about it, but people were freaking losing their lids over this.
Right. And it's a Ticketmaster, and they're taking issue with Ticketmaster. And from the majority of things, and I've seen a few outliers that are like, you know, it could have been Taylor Swift that did something about it, but the consensus is Ticketmaster is the enemy, that there's no other factor at play here, and they're not going after T Swift, they're going after Ticketmaster, which I think is just ridiculous. It's like, I don't know, it's like something, but I don't know what it is, but it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Taylor could have done something about it, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to kind of end my side of looking at this, and you know, if you have more, Dixon, please continue. But this kind of, I don't know, it kind of disappointed me because when I was researching Taylor Swift, as I said in the very beginning of this episode, that she is the youngest person to ever have a professional music writing career at the age of 14, and then to get signed on just years after in 2005 as a country singer. I thought that was pretty incredible, and I said, wow, she must have been super talented. You know, it's something that maybe I didn't see before.
Oh boy, here we go.
But then I looked into it, and you might know this as well, but Taylor Swift actually comes from a long line of very wealthy and connected people.
I did hear that.
Yeah, so her dad is actually the descendant of 3 generations of bank presidents.
Oh, wow.
Worked for Merrill Lynch. And this whole thing started because Taylor Swift wanted to have a country music career.
Oh boy.
So they moved the whole family to Tennessee, and then she got her career in writing music. But this happened after her dad purchased a large stake in the label that she was signed to.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
What?
So
You're telling me Taylor Swift was created, was manufactured?
that is what I am saying.
That's like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish was manufactured. She's an industry plant.
Yeah, because doesn't she come from money too? Or someone gave her money to like go. Someone signed her on. Yeah.
Yeah, the brothers involved. The brother is basically the puppet master, and she's like just along for the ride, from what I can gather.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, Taylor Swift is just a total sellout job.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, and that's when it started to make me think: what if Taylor Swift didn't have this money? She didn't have the money to push her career, to get all the advertisement out, to sign her up to this big label. Where would she be right now? Would people look at her? Let's say she's like I don't know. She's signed to a small label. There's videos of her on YouTube and stuff, and people watch her sing, and like everyone's like, she's okay. Is
a really good point.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was kind of like, you know what? It just made me think of it, and honestly disappointed me, because like I said, at first when I was reading all this stuff, I'm like, damn, 14, okay, like Taylor Swift has some chops here. Yeah. But then I saw that, and I'm like, essentially the dad just bought part of the company and probably said, get my daughter in here.
Oh my gosh, that is shocking.
Yeah,
that is definitely surprising and disappointing. So, like you said, you make a really good point. Would Taylor Swift have ever been discovered?
Yeah,
had her big daddy not forked over the cash.
Exactly.
Like, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I hate to end on that bombshell, but
it's a bombshell. Wow.
Yeah, but here we are, and I know I'm gonna get flack for this one. I know we're gonna get flack for it, because I mean, but it's something you really can't argue against. You can't argue that she wasn't propped up by her dad and his money. That's where she started. That's where she started this whole thing. Like, I'm sure there were tons of people out there at a young age who their dreams were to be able to write music, and they just never got the chance because their dad was a rich bank president.
That's so true. And we mentioned that before, Matt, when we went over the greatest singers list from Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And we took umbrage with the fact that Taylor Swift was high on the list. Well, not high. Her placement on the list was skewed compared to the people below her.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and then but would she beat Taylor Swift? Like you said, if the father hadn't just bought out the thing, because there's a lot of the consensus we had on the Rolling Stone thing was there are a lot better singers out there. They may have missed the mark. For the entirety of the list. We had issue with the entirety of the list.
Yeah,
it wasn't just a Taylor Swift placement. So there's a lot of singers out there that have to be more talented than Taylor Swift. That's just how it exists.
Right.
And I know there's better songwriters. There are better songwriters. So she was basically like a creative thing. Now that's not to say that the content isn't real and that the talent isn't real. But
exactly.
Where would it be without Papa's money?
Yeah, and you know, you got to ask the question: is the popularity? I mean, I guess you could say it's genuine now, but would she have ever been able to get there if she just came off the street and went to this company and said, "Oh, could I please write for you? Here's some of my stuff." Would they say, "Get the hell out of here, kid. We don't want to"?
That's a really good question, because you hear these stories pretty often, like Maren Morris. Kelsey Ballerini, they all somehow wiggle their way into these Nashville writing rooms. Yeah. And they end up having their own careers. And it's like, you wonder how they get there. And I know how Taylor Swift got there, evidently. Now this is how it went.
Yeah, I think it's all connections, and it's connections and money and power, and that's and I was, when I was reading this up, apparently like a lot of people that are like actors or popular musicians and stuff now, they all have had some kind of connection with a label, or they know someone who knows someone, and they it's kind of how unfortunately, kind of how it shakes out to be. But yeah, so that's
amazing. That's the story of Taylor Swift.
That is the story, Taylor Swift. But I think in conclusion, I think we covered her pretty fairly. I don't think we went out of bounds.
Yes.
We say this every time we come and try to look at a new artist or someone we don't really know much about, or we're trying to figure out something about them. We come in with trying to think nothing, just like we're a blank slate, and we're like, trying to absorb this stuff. But I don't know. I think overall, if I had to say what I think about Taylor Swift, I think she's a good artist. I think she's evolved. I think she's at her peak of her career. But I have to ask the question: why do people love her so much? And would she have been here without Daddy's money? That's just the truth of it.
Yeah, those are two questions that I don't think we really have answers for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think that the popularity. It'll be interesting to see the staying power of Taylor Swift's popularity.
Yeah.
But at some point, these people have to grow up, right? Namely, these women have to grow up.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And you would think that that's true, but like I said, it goes back to the cult of the Disney adult.
Yeah.
And that's just the whole nother thing we could discuss for hours. So maybe they don't. Maybe they. So yeah. Will they have that staying power? Will it have that staying power? I don't know, because the music and the content is still there. But is that cult-like status really all that sustainable in reality? I mean, after 5 times of stealing Taylor Swift, you got to say, okay, I'm done paying $2,000 for a ticket. Like I've just had enough.
Yeah,
Taylor's version. Right. I hate paying Ticketmaster fees. Like, well, yeah, okay, great. Like I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. It'll be interesting. Maybe we'll come back in like 5 years and see where she's at.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? We'll see as her fans grow up, and they might leave her, but
yeah,
I hope our fans never leave us, ever.
Never. I hope not either. And you talk about people who know someone who have Daddy's money at play. That is not the case here. This is 100% organic. We know no one. There's nobody knows us. We don't know anybody. And we started this from the ground up.
We did. Totally organic. We're totally anonymous, and we're just making it happen here. So that's why we would just ask you guys to just hit that subscribe button. You guys, when you do that, you keep this show going. Every single week, we got new content. We took a little break, but we're back in full swing now. You'll get new episodes every single weekend, and they're going to be hot takes and interesting conversations, if I do say so myself, every single weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Dixon, it's good being back. I had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the best ever that we've ever done. I think this is great to walk in with our ideas and just go from there, because we really didn't discuss this all that much. BTS, a very minute amount, and we kind of just let it all fly for everybody out there, which was good. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, keep it locked in here on the Records and Rants channel, and we will see you next week.
Peace.